that time of week once more. For Muji and Dan to give you the comic store, it's time to open up those bags and boards, fans. Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
Welcome to Get Your Pulls, number 113. It's the return of Muji.
And Dan!
And Jay.
Todd's not here. We don't know where Todd's at because a little inside baseball. He ignored a text tonight.
Mm-hmm. We know about it, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not uncommon from Todd. I would say he ignores texts. He just takes several days to respond in many cases. So
It's not a research paper. It's a text. Can you be here to podcast tonight? No.
I think he's going to see Deadpool. I saw his Facebook page,
Yeah,
and he was
that.
posting pictures of Deadpool with excitement. So something tells me that's where he's at.
Well, that's nice. We can talk about next week. I'm going to see Deadpool Sunday.
I won't be able to see it probably till next weekend.
I got a Saturday plan.
I've got to dodge a whole week's worth of spoilers, which, I mean, that movie, spoilers, like, plot-wise, I don't care, but I definitely don't want people to give away all the good fucking jokes. And you know that's what you have the danger of missing.
Exactly, yeah. It's probably going to be super quotable.
Did you guys see the ridiculous Betty White review that?
Yeah,
for
yeah, it was great.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, everything I've seen about Deadpool so far I like, and huge, like, major upset on the reviews is, like, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 81% fresh, which is crazy high, which is higher than, like, even though comic book movies, people seem to get them more these days, so they do a lot better than they did. That's way higher than most of them, and that's higher than, like, almost every Marvel movie minus, like, Civil War and Avengers. Like, that's an incredibly high score for a movie. The Revenant was 82%. The fucking, maybe the best movie of the year, if you just respect acting.
If you respect acting and man-on-bear relations, then...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is a movie that I want to see because I like DiCaprio, but all that I hear about it is like, it was so hard to film. It's like, who fucking cares? It just matters if it's good or not. Like, we just went through so much filming. It's like, yeah, but is it like a really awesome movie? It's like Apocalypse Now. I don't know if either one of y'all have seen that, but that's its claim to fame. It's a pretty decent movie, but that was its big claim to fame, was it took 2 years and almost 3 different times they ran out of money and it almost drove them insane. And then you watch it and you're like, it's a pretty good war movie, but it's not one of the best. Sorry it was so hard, but you don't get fucking a pat on the back for that. Yeah. But in the Oscars, apparently you do. That needs to go on the classic list. The classic, how do you win an Oscar? You go gay, you get AIDS, fuck the bear. Just go on the list. But anywho, that's our reverent minute for the day. Deadpool seems awesome, and then today the final Batman vs. Superman trailer dropped.
Indeed.
If Warner Brothers takes anything away from the Disney plan of final trailer, it means this is the final trailer, but we're going to show you 30 more commercials with other scenes from the movie that you haven't seen before. But it was pretty awesome. I wasn't going to watch it because I've already seen the other trailers. I was going to go no trailer mode, but then I just saw too many people tweeting about Batman fighting, and I was like, I want to see Batman fight. So I watched it, and it was badass.
So you're glad you did.
Yeah, and then Wonder Woman talks for the first time, which, spoilers, she sounds like Gal Gadot sounds in movies, so it's her voice. But it was pretty awesome. I got even more excited than I was before for it. I would be shocked if it's not really, really awesome.
I was a little concerned by that second trailer, but not at all deterred, and very happy to... I've not seen the third trailer yet, but very happy to hear the buzz about it. No secret, like, even with all the great movies, including Civil War, which I'm beyond excited for, like, I'm not really as excited for anything yet this year as I am Batman vs. Superman. And that's going to kind of set the tone to me also. If it sucks, then it's going to be like, I'm really going to be banking on Civil War to be awesome. But if it's awesome, then I'm going to be like, hoping Civil War is even more awesome to try and top it. It's a crazy year. Plus, you got X-Men coming up. You have so many comic book movies, plus Star Wars Rogue One at the end of the year. 2016 is just the year of all years for comic movies. And Doctor Strange. Don't forget about that.
It starts this week. We go Deadpool, Batman vs. Superman, Civil War, Suicide Squad, X-Men, Doctor Strange. That's all in 1 year. It's really crazy to think that even 10 years ago that you would get one a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we're going to get like 7 this year. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's...
Apparently they think we work jobs and have money, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, yeah, they hate us because every time I look at my like Blu-ray cabinet, I'm like, I'm going to have to buy them all too. And then Disney, I'll give you 1 minute on how Disney can suck it. Thank you for making all the great movies. Fuck you for making the Marvel movies like your stupid Disney things. Like, we're going to take them out of the vault. They don't put those shits on sale.
Oh, no.
It used to be a Black Friday guarantee was that after, like, if you waited until the next year, or even that year, the newest Marvel movies would be on sale. That would be my thing. They put in July, here's the Blu-ray. I go, I can't pay $20 for that. I may only watch it one more time ever, depending on which movie it is, but I want it. Then you wait till Black Friday, get it for 10. Or if it's a couple years later, you get it for 4. Not on sale at all. They're all still $20.
Yeah, you're not going to get it for $4 or $5 anymore, period. Like, you can still get them for 10 so if you look hard enough online.
If you
can
catch
find
a
them.
sale, or if you'll get one used, then you can get it for around 10.
Like, I found Winter Soldier because I was looking at, I still don't own that in my collection. I have, like, a digital version of it on Vudu that my code that my in-laws gave me so I can watch it anytime I want, but I would like to have the physical DVD. And, I found a Blu-ray for 10 on Amazon, but you got to look really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking at Winter Soldier, and it's like you can get it used on eBay or Amazon for like around $10.
Also, check the website Bonanza. I found a lot of great deals. It's like a lesser-known eBay.
Right.
And I bought several older Disney movies for my daughter on there. Like, I got Lady and the Tramp, which is currently in the vault and selling on eBay for like $150. I got it for $10 on that site, brand new.
Nice.
I got Pinocchio for it's the same. It's about $100 right now on eBay, and I got it for about $10 on Bonanza. So check that site out.
I'm telling wife
It's
about
like,
that
fuck your vault. The vault makes you want a pirate. The vault is like, please download this movie. Even though I've never downloaded a Disney movie, and they're pretty scary, so I don't even know if I would.
Yeah.
They'll send you to Guantanamo Bay.
It's not download stuff hardly at all these days.
Well, they've almost made it impossible, and they've made it so easy to get. If you want to stream something, pay the $3 and watch it, and then be done with it.
Exactly.
You know?
That's true. It's like almost every movie is at your grasp, but if it's not new, you can stream it for like less than $10. So it's actually less, even though you're paying, it's less work to go on one of the 100 movie renting apps that you can go on your fucking Roku or your PlayStation or Xbox. Just buy it. And then,
2 clicks of a button, you have it, as opposed
because
to...
you don't have to wait for the 7 minutes it takes to steal it.
Yes, and the sketchy fucking viruses that come with torrents and everything else, and that's only gotten worse.
And you don't want to be one of those 1 in a millions they come after. Like the UFC a couple years ago, to make a point, came after like 3,000 people that like downloaded a UFC pay-per-view that night and fucking sent them like, you owe us this amount of money, like letters to their house, or we'll sue you. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the random one that gets hit. So
that'd be my damn luck.
But as excited as I am for the movies, man, the fucking DC TV is just murdering people right now. First, Lucifer, I haven't even watched yet, but
fucking great.
Yeah, Brittany, my fiance watched the first 2 episodes without me. She was on vacation, or she took days off work because her parents were here. And they were just looking for stuff to watch on TV. And then for the first time ever, I get home and she's like, "Did you know about the show Lucifer?" And I'm like, "It's based off a comic." She's like, "Oh God, of course it is." And I was like, "Yeah, almost all good things.
It's everything is now,
yeah. And she's like, "Well, I watched the first 2 episodes and they're really good. You need to watch it and catch up so we can watch it." I'm like, she's adding comic book shows to the fucking Hulu queue now.
Yeah, it's really good. Lucifer is a character, of course, from the DC universe, from Constantine. Actually, not even from Constantine, from Sandman, which Constantine and Lucifer both came from. I got my origin backwards, but and originally enough, he was drawn to look exactly like David Bowie in the original Neil Gaiman Sandman, and of course, just that was a unique bit of thing with David Bowie just passing and all of the fanfare regarding him. And of course, then this show pops up, and of course, the guy cast as him doesn't look anything like he does in the comic. He's a dark-haired, like handsome. Fucking like Italian looking guy, and it's really good, man. It's cheesy as hell. Like it's the devil's on vacation in Los Angeles, and he doesn't want to go back to hell because he's just like tired of it. It bores him, and it's just fucking just daunting work, and it's just punishment because God put him there, and he hates God. And like one of the angels, I think it's Gabriel, is like always up his ass, like, you need to go back to hell. And he's like, fuck you, man, I'm going back to hell. I'm in LA.
I ain't doing it.
And then like you get to find out that the devil has a heart. He develops relationships with humans, and you know he like fucking bonds with them and shit. But he's also got these crazy powers. So anyway, this chick that he's lined up with gets killed, and the whole show like premises him solving murders as the devil using his powers. It's just so fucking ridiculous,
like,
but it's awesome. Yeah.
Why would he want to solve murders? It's kind of like, what?
Well, yeah, that sounds great.
You're going to get to you eventually, probably.
Arrow's been awesome. Sigh of relief for all Arrow's fans is that whoever the fuck dies this year is not Felicity Smoke. So
We
know
think
that.
so, yeah. Unless it's a giant swerve, but given that they have put her through the ringer already, and now she's all oracled up in the wheelchair.
And it showed her in the car with Oliver crying, like by the grave. So it seems like it's for sure not her. But then that really narrows it down to like still some really good characters that it could be. Speedy, I think, is the one that I'm the most afraid for.
Thea, I think so.
Yeah, you never know, but that's or then Roy, because he's like a bit character. They brought him back a little bit. You think it's a possibility, but then again, with the rumor of the Titans show, you figure maybe he wouldn't die.
Yeah, probably not.
But that's been really good, man. And then Legends of Tomorrow so far has just hit it out of the park in every single episode.
Yeah, I only saw the first episode. I haven't got to see the rest of the other ones.
Man, one of the best things, this isn't a spoiler, but one of the great things is like when they're talking to what's his name? Something Hunter.
Rip Hunter.
Rip Hunter, yeah, the leader there. AKA people like Doctor Who, so let's bring our most Doctor Who-y character to lead the Justice League of America on some tours. But anyways, when he's like talking about the future, he's like, there's just been so many really awesome DC Easter eggs in it. He's talking about the future, and he's like, I've seen Men of Steel die, and I've seen
Dark Knights
Fall, and I was like, yes.
Oh, sweet.
It's been great so far. And you really also love the fact that because they're time traveling, it gives them the opportunity to do so many awesome things. Like, they've already previewed they're going to see Jonah Hex. That means they're going to go to the Wild West. Mm-hmm. And they had mentioned that they were going to see a future Arrow, and you actually got that Easter egg in this week's Flash. Have you seen the Flash from this week yet? Mm-hmm. Okay, so when they're going into Earth 2...
Oh, there's so much shit. Like, I caught a bunch of it. I didn't look online for what all was there, but I saw Supergirl. I'm pretty sure I saw the Ezra Miller Flash.
I think that was... was it the Ezra Miller Flash?
Maybe. They said he was going to be popping up on there, so that's the most logical thing for me.
I thought... Dude, I didn't like slow it down, but I saw Flash, and I assumed maybe it was his dad as the Flash, but I guess it could be either one. Could have been some old 90s footage, or if it was the Ezra Miller Flash, that's even more badass that they've let the movies leak into the TV show. Yeah. But when he jumps to the time portal, the first thing it shows is old Oliver Queen. So you get to see Old Man Arrow.
That's who that was. Shit.
Yeah. So
like one arm from Dark Knight Returns?
Yes. It was one armed Oliver Queen. He had a metal arm. So we're going to get to and apparently we're going to see him in Legends of Tomorrow. They're going to go into the future. We're going to see full-fledged future.
So they're going to go to fucking Dark Knight Returns time. They're going to go to the Wild West with Jonah Hex. I've also heard they're going to the World War II era to find like Sergeant Rock and the Haunted Tank and all that old DC shit. Like they're really digging deep.
Yeah, it's so great, man. Yeah, the Berlanti verse or whatever you want to call it is just so incredibly awesome.
And like at first I was like, man, I don't know about another show. Like, is it? But like they managed to make it different. Like Arrow is its own thing. The Flash is its own thing.
Yeah, Arrow is definitely like kind of the more gritty show, even though it's become like a lot more comic booky this season.
Yeah.
They've now these Green Arrow. It's like a lot lighter.
It's the more Flash, Gotham City-ish type show.
Yeah. It's evolved from Poor Man's Batman, but the first season was Poor Man's Batman got thrown on a desert island and go. Flash is definitely the 100% like feel good, like this is like a comic your kid could read type show. Yeah. And then this show, they're going all through time and stuff, and it is like a great team up show. It's really, really good.
It is. It's like got elements of Star Trek and Doctor Who, like the best elements where like they go to a different time and like they kind of have to solve some kind of conflict that's going on and then fucking move on. Yeah. And of course, then I love the fact in Legends of Tomorrow you have the recurring villain in Vandal Savage. Yeah. So it's like, like he's so fucking powerful that they've done a really good job of like making him seem pretty much invincible, but just vulnerable enough. And it's like they've got to find the weakness, and they've been exploiting that the whole time.
Yeah, and then the Flash, man. In the last 2 weeks, first of all, 2 weeks ago when the episode ended, and he's like, "We're going to Earth 2," I was like, "Fuck yes!" Mm-hmm. And then it was even more than I could have ever imagined because when they're going through the little multiverse thing, you get to see all the different characters there. That was badass. You saw Supergirl.
Yeah.
The CBS Supergirl in the thing, and you're like, yes! And then once they get to Earth 2, just a billion Easter eggs. My favorite one, well, probably I got two favorite ones. The most obvious one is the phone. You saw the phone with all the names on it?
Yeah.
When Barry picks up the phone to dial, when he's in Earth 2 and he goes to his and Iris' house, he picks up a phone when he's going to call his mom, and it's like an old school house phone, and on speed dial, it says like, it's like mom and dad, and then dad for like Joe West, Iris' dad. Then it says Bruce, Hal, Diana. So he's got the fucking Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern on speed dial in Earth 2. I knew that because I did the same thing. I didn't look up all the spoilers, but I heard there were tons of Easter eggs from Twitter. People were just like going off on the comic book creators. So like I was watching very intently. We were watching, and when they showed the phone, I glanced and saw Bruce, and I was like, oh, like read it, jumped up in front of the TV, read it as quick as I could, and I was like, yes!
And another one was, of course, the Earth 2 Barry's name was Bartholomew.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning he is the Earth 2 Kid Flash, Bart Allen, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. You see the Legion? There was a Legion ring. That was the sign when you go into the police station.
In the police station, yeah.
It was like the Legion of something for the police, but it had the Legion symbol, the Legion ring. So that was in there. Man, there was other stuff too. There was just so much stuff, so I can't even think about it. But those are my two favorites. So the random Legion ring was in there, and then the fucking having Bruce, Diana, and Hal on speed dial. I was like, yes.
And of course, now they're stuck in Earth 2, so we're going to get more of that, which is exciting because there's been so many crazy cameo rumors about their time in Earth 2. Of course, there's long been a rumor that Tom Welling is going to be making an appearance.
That would be great.
On the Flash when they travel to a different, and of course I don't think he'll be Superman, but he might be Ultraman, and that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, and you think that, it's hard for them to keep secrets, but you think like if they were now be the time, because Tom Welling has been popping up in interviews and stuff lately a lot more, so it seems like this would be the time where he's randomly kind of come out of hiding and is doing press that he might sneak into an episode or something. And then speaking of Supergirl, I actually caught up all the way on it, and love it too.
It's great. I really
keep waiting
am
on
behind.
these DC shows to suck and to not like it, but so far I've liked every single one of them.
Yeah. You talk with all of these shows like, man, I don't know about another one. It's going to get oversaturated. But, I mean, at this rate, if they want to pick up, TNT decided not to do the Teen Titans show. They had the idea and they balked.
Yeah.
And now the
Berlanti Kreisberg want to do Teen Titans and fucking let's do it.
Yeah, they want to, and so now they're trying to make it happen.
I keep thinking of that. That would be probably our TV chance to get a Robin, because apparently Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman are the only ones that are like off the table for TV for them to do like as regular characters on shows. Obviously, they're pretty lax because they let them refer to Superman on fucking.
Oh, clearly they exist, and I think we will see Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in the Arrowverse before it's all said and done.
I still feel like that there's a decent chance before it's over with that we'll see them on like the biggest TV event of all time where the fucking movie people cross over. I still think that like if the Justice League, the two planned Justice League movies go really great, I mean, they're really, Warner Brothers is really talking about listening to the fans and doing all this. Like, I would not be shocked if those movies do good, if they did like a Flashpoint type movie where they fucking incorporated the TV universe versions with the fucking.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I'm not opposed to seeing TV versions of those characters because they've established the idea of the multiverse. We now know all of those characters exist in the Flash universe, Flash, Arrow, the Berlanti-verse, call that. We know all those characters exist there, so it's like, why not? Why not cast people as them? And they don't have to be, regulars, but
yeah. And I figured out, man, the best thing with continuity stuff like that too is like nothing really overrides the other stuff. Like I was thinking about that the other day. Like a lot of people really bitch about that we're really big in the Star Wars expanded. That like it doesn't count anymore and all this stuff. And You know, and then a lot of people that like now that they're talking about relaunching a lot of the New 52 stuff, it's like the books really exist, and just like with the TV, it's like they all exist. Like it all counts.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's just you make your own continuity.
Yeah, and well, I mean, just because they play around with continuity doesn't mean you can't enjoy it.
No,
like,
and plus,
you know, you can take it as like its own thing.
No, and to me, the theory of the multiverse is the perfect explanation for all of that.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
everything exists in multiple universes. If you don't like this version of a character, then it's still part of this whole same thing, but it's just in a different universe
there may not
over
be
here.
new stories, but things are still happening. You're just not seeing it anymore.
Yeah, and you don't have to follow that if you don't like it. You can find a version of the character that you like. It's all out there for
Somebody had a good
everybody.
quote about this. I can't remember. Somebody was bitching about like because people were using like the people were using the term "real" for it, and they were like about them like rewriting DC continuity, and somebody was like, "Yeah, but now I have to find out what's real and what's not real, and what counts and what doesn't count." And somebody came through and was like, "It all counts, and none of it's real."
Yeah.
It's fucking very true.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is true.
But yeah, that's all awesome. I'll give a quick 2-minute pre-Toy Fair report because Toy Fair is this weekend. One of the most exciting times of the year. It's Toy Fair because I love toys. And what's become a regular thing at Toy Fair is like you almost don't need to see any reporting from it because all the major companies like leak their stuff that's going to be at Toy Fair the week of to like major outlets. It's like DC Collectibles has already put all of its stuff out, which they have this Batman animated line, which is great, which if I had infinite money I would get into, but I couldn't. Because at first I was like, I'm just going to buy Batman and the Joker. And I was like, well, maybe I'll buy Batman, Robin, the Joker. And then I was like, man, if I buy those, I'm going to buy them all.
If you get one taste, it's over.
Yeah. And they're like,
it's over.
and they're not retail, so they come from comic book stores. So you can eventually, they'll go on sale for like $15. But if you want to get them on the new, which I can't help myself, for like $25, I think they're raising them to $28 just because I guess the cost of business has gone up. So I just can't afford because there's like 30 of them already, and I was like, I'd like to get them all. But they announced their new ones, man, and they're so good. They did a 3-pack of Batman Beyond with fucking Batman Beyond, and then Old Man Bruce and the fucking dog. And it's marvelous.
I saw it.
Yeah. It's amazing. And then they did a Batwing, which is awesome, which is big enough to fit 2 figs in. That's amazing. But they're awesome. And then DC Collectibles had all this awesome stuff. But the real thing that's going to break me, because I'm going to have to get these, you guys remember when I brought my awesome Dark Knight Returns Mezco 112 figure out?
Oh, yeah.
Then they previewed a couple others like last year, but nothing else has come out from that line. Well, randomly they put out a Batman versus Superman fig. So they got Batman, Superman, and then they've got Batman in his like fucking Superman defense suit, big awesome metal suit. I'm going to stay away from those because I'm just like, they're awesome, but I can't get 1,000 versions. But then they...
I think you almost got something similar to that instead of the hot toy, but the hot toy was found and that was abandoned.
Yeah, which I'll talk about in a second. I finally got that. And then but then they re-announced, they'd already announced previously a couple, so they showed the final version of the Flash and Reverse Flash and Superman, and they're completely badass. And then they showed pictures of fucking an Oliver Queen that's like, it's almost like a half between the Arrow from TV and the comics version with the beard and stuff, and it's like one of the best looking figures I've ever seen. I was like, Jesus, that's such a good looking figure. And then they had a bunch of others, and then the big, huge like thing they announced that they hadn't previously announced is they got a fucking Marvel license. And their first 3 Marvels, they got 2 different versions of each. They got classic Cap, and then kind of like the new Avengers looking Captain America. They got 2 different Punishers, one kind of old school with the white, and then a newer one that's all black. And then they've got 3 different Daredevils, like first appearance, Red Daredevil, and the new black version Daredevil. And I was just like, that's fucking $50 a piece that I just have to, like, that's like a bill. I won't be able to deal with myself if I don't have those. So, they're going to kill me. Because I'm now determined. I used to buy lots of like $10 and $20 action figures, and just my walls would eventually get covered in them, and I would eventually have to be like, I don't have more room. I got to sell them, put them in storage. Now that's the new thing. I'm just buying way less, but just getting the high quality ones. So now I'm doing like this exclusive. What about these Mezcos? I'm going to have to buy more Hot Toys eventually. Because I got my first Hot Toy, and the addiction is real, my friend.
I got for that Capital One card.
Yeah, dude. No, dude. I was adding up, and I was like, if we weren't about to buy a house, because we're house setting right now, it's like, I have enough money saved. I was like, I could go hot toy crazy and buy like 5 of them with no problem. Because we've been putting back money for months to have a down payment on a house. Like, that fucking house down payment? Dude, I could bathe in hot toys. And I would love to. I definitely would bathe naked in them. I got the Batman Returns Keaton. It just looks like Michael Keaton. It's the best. So,
Wait, is that the one you posted the other day?
Yeah,
it looked really good.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And so now I really want to get the Joker to match it, the Nicholson Joker. So I'm going to have to do that. And they got a new Deadpool that looks awesome, and I want to do that. So eventually I'll get lots of hot toys. I may be hungry, but I'm going to have hot toys.
You have a whole room in your house just for hot toys.
Too bad those hot toys won't heat up a cup of ramen.
Exactly. But they'll fill your soul. You'll have an empty stomach but a full heart.
Last thing I'll mention here before we get along to the polls, of course, the DC television universe has been great, and we talked all about that, but the DC animated is continuing, and Batman Bad Blood just came out.
Yeah, I think that's being delivered to me tomorrow.
And I watched and enjoyed it. I am excited, though, about the new announcement. My biggest complaint, the animation is good. The voice acting is so-so in the newer Batman movies. Like, I don't really care for that Jason O'Meara as Batman. He just doesn't do it for me. He's a little too...
The reason he doesn't do it for you is because, what's his name? Kevin Conroy is still fucking alive.
He is. And speaking of, so Batman Bad Blood was great, and I do recommend checking it out. If you're a Batman fan, it's like Easter Egg City, and, it's the follow-up to the last one, which was about the Court of Owls, which was great. So, it's that same animation style. The Young Justice animation team does those movies, and they, it looks just like the Young Justice series, and that's all great. But also, the big news in the DC animated universe came out this week. Cartoon Network is resurrecting one of the greatest animated series of all time, the Justice League. And it will now be called Justice League Action. Bruce Timm is the head creative guy, but the animation's a little bit different. Of course, they evolved the animation on those shows a lot over the years. But the big news there, that's huge in and of itself, but the big news is that Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill are coming back to reprise the voices of the Batman and Joker.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I mean, there was a bit of sadness. Like, I finally caught up, because I watched Batman animated as a kid. That was awesome. But then I kind of quit. And then didn't get back into them until a couple of years ago. Reluctantly, actually, because, I've never gotten, huge into, a lot of animated stuff as an adult. Even stuff that my friends have liked, I haven't. But finally, I went back and watched Batman, and then watched Superman, and was like, oh yeah, this is awesome, too. It's not quite as good as Batman, but it's awesome. And then watched the Justice League, and then finally it was over. And watched Batman Beyond, which is fucking great.
Oh, yeah.
Never watched Batman Beyond.
It's on Netflix,
It might be my favorite of all the animated, just because it's it's such a crazy, that's my favorite version of Future Bruce that I've ever seen.
Yeah, Batman Beyond is tremendous. It's just it captures the entire spirit of the original Batman show and updates everything.
Yeah, and it's the best case scenario future for Bruce, because he's alone, but he's alive. And that's all you can hope for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and he's still, on his maniacal quest. He just has a young, able-bodied Batman out there doing it for him, so...
And it's very much it's like the Batman Returns version, only he's finally, under no circumstances will I go out and fight myself. It's gotta be the new guy.
Well, because in the first episode, he tries, he creates this mech Batman suit that, they've eventually did in the comics. And, for all intents and purposes, Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
Even in that, he goes out at 80 and is still trying to fight crime and he gets his ass whipped. And he has to use a gun. And, of course, when he has to use a gun, he's like, I can't ever fucking do this again. Fuck, I had to use a fucking gun. Then he retires
the old folks home.
And finds young Terry McGinnis.
Yeah, and he lets Terry McGinnis get his ass kicked the first time, and you're just this is definitely how Bruce Wayne would act.
Oh, he's so fucking sadistic, dude. It's he's there in his best interest in trying to help him, but he'll definitely let him get the shit beat out of him to prove a point.
Gotta learn somehow.
Yeah, it's great. It's the version of Bruce Wayne that it seems like Affleck's playing. Which I didn't mention that earlier. I heard that they announced the DC executives that have watched it that aren't really comic book people are watch the movie and they say they don't know what to make of it. They're they think it's going to do really good financially, but they're some of them don't understand it, but all their notes are Ben Affleck is great. He's perfect. So
Good.
that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to pulls finally. First one for the week is really good. Omega Man number 8. I know that you couldn't get into Omega Man, so and it is weird. It's very out there. It is as who the fuck did this? Dwight from The Office. I can't remember who coined the phrase of hard sci-fi.
Oh no, that was from Party Down.
Oh, Party! It was from Party Down.
Martin Starr's character.
Party Down. That's true. Yeah, the Omega Man is the closest thing to comics of hard sci-fi as I've seen. It's really fucking out there and really crazy, but it's really, really good. And man, it's coming around like it's like a crazy big event in its own right, but it's just not connected to the DCU hardly, except for the fact that Kyle Rayner is like the focus point of it. So there's really nothing else involved. But it's really awesome. This is almost like an origin story of the character Scraps in it, but it's like also really furthering thing. And it's really, really great. And Tom King is really good. It makes me want to read The Vision, because everybody says The Vision's great. He writes it as well. Giant comic news that somehow we didn't talk about, because we did just like all the fucking cons do and talk about all the media tie-ins to comics, not the comics themselves. Tom King, the rumored new writer of Batman, as Scott Snyder officially announced on Twitter today that Batman 51 is him and Capullo's last, and that he is also leaving the book with Capullo.
Oh.
Now, the big rumor, now Bleeding Cool gave some rumors like about 6 weeks ago of what was going to happen with Rebirth, and nobody wants to confirm them, of course, because they're probably mad because they got all these scoops, but they had a bunch of like rumors of who the new creative teams are going to be, stuff like that. And their big rumor was that Snyder doesn't want to work on Batman without Capullo, because that's been kind of their thing.
Yeah.
So he's going to go back to Detective, which is going to stay like it is right now, you know, the once-a-month book, and he'll have the different Snyder rotating group of guest artists, the guys he always uses. Mm-hmm. But he would be going back to Detective, which, of course, he was on before the New 52. And that Tom King does the Omega Man, is like who everybody's saying is probably going to write Batman. Which would be cool to me, because he's been really, really good at everything I've read of him so far. But, so yeah, that's really good. And Velvet, as really, the story's like really kind of coming together. Really great. Issue number 13, Brubaker Epting. Really, really, really great book. Really like it. Easily pick of the week. Book I just picked up simply because I saw it on the shelf was this Poison Ivy miniseries, Cycle of Life and Death. First issue, man, I really liked it. I'm going to pick up the rest of it. It's like a 6-issue mini. First issue was really interesting. It's basically they've put her back, like, she gets a job. They did a really good job explaining. So she gets a job as a botanist again where they're paying her. And the place that she's at, it's just like, you know, we think you're really good, so we're going to kind of overlook, you know, the weird stuff on the resume. You know, we see, you know, that she kind of botches, you know, she kind of fiddles with the resume. The person that hires her kind of knows like who she is, but that she can help them, so they go ahead and give her the job. So it kind of puts her back, you know, into her normal like thing of being the botanist. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. Harley Quinn shows up and is like, "Let's go wreak some havoc." She's like, "I can't, you know, I really want to do good this time with the job." And Harley Quinn's like, "Well, you're an asshole.
You're no fun."
Yeah, so that was great. Let's say code pick of the week, man. Outcast number 15.
Ooh.
Man, it's so good. It is so good. Week after week, it's so good. If you've been keeping up with Outcast, in the last issue, a bunch of shit happened. You found out that Kyle, the main character on Outcast, his sister, became possessed and all this crazy stuff, and she accidentally almost killed her husband, like pushed him out of a window while she was possessed. And then, like, a big family secret has been that the main character, Kyle, is not allowed to see his kid because his kid got possessed a long time ago, and he, like, basically physically had to hurt her to get, like, the demon out of him. And now, like, his sister kind of finds out the truth, you know, like, a bunch of people around him finally see it and are like, oh, shit, like, now we know. And he's been kind of, like, living with the secret for all the years. It's a really, really great issue. And it's really good. Kirkman is just really, really good.
Kirkman's second foray into horror beyond The Walking Dead. And
it's another show that starts sometime before the year's over.
This weekend.
Sunday.
This weekend?
Yeah.
I think I can use the old parents' Comcast login to watch a little bit of Outcast. I definitely don't pay for Cinemax, but it's okay.
Oh, the Cinemax TV show? No, I don't know about that. I was talking about Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was talking about Outcast, yeah. And then pick of the week, know we talked about Batman 48 last week, so it was awesome. So we'll talk about it. Batman 49. It's basically the next. It's the next to last. It's not the next to last, but it's the third to last Capullo Snyder issue. It's really great. It's setting up. Issue 50 is like a big 50-something page issue where all the action is. But this one is basically just Bruce finding his way back and remembering his Batman. That's without spoiling. That's what the whole issue, without how it happens, because you.
What we've been waiting on.
Yeah.
We've been waiting on. Yes, is Bruce remembers that he's Batman, and it's how they get there is really awesome. And it's really great, man. It's really emotional. Like the father-son aspect of Alfred just doesn't want to do it. Like Bruce wants him to Bruce is trying to convince Alfred to let him go behind the clock, like he knows like the cave is down there, like his memories or something come back a little so he can feel it. And he's like, please let me in down there. And Alfred's like, no, I can't do it. It's like, if I let you down there, you're never going to be happy. He's like, it's like, you don't remember, so you're going to be happy. And Alfred, it brings Alfred to tears to let Bruce, become Batman again, because he knows it's inevitable, and that's who Bruce has got to be, but he's never going to be happy. Like, he could have been happy if he wouldn't have remembered his Batman. So, it is a great issue, as they've all been with Snyder Capullo. And really, man, and we probably talk about this more when the last issue comes out, but I feel like at this point, Frank Miller had more impact on the character overall, because that's still the character we have today, 30 years later. But nobody's had a better run on Batman than Snyder and Capullo.
It's been pretty
this
flawless,
is over
man.
4 years now that they've been on the book, and it's been, it's had its highs and its midpoints, basically. There's been stuff where it wasn't A+, but it's all been A.
It's all been A. The last arc, I think, was the weakest of all of them with Gore, but they had to do something different.
But the in-betweens were great. It's like the thing with, I didn't really like Bat Gordon, but the stuff that you got in there, this issue is phenomenal. It's like a 10 out of 10 issue. And then the issue where Bruce and the Joker, who both don't remember who they are, so they're talking to each other on the park bench. Yeah. That's great, where they both, where you get two things of, A, in a different world, could these people actually be buddies? And B, some of the stuff they talked about was it's inevitable. They would eventually become, these people. This issue does some good stuff, too. It has, some alternate realities when Bruce is trying to remember who he is. Right before he goes Batman, it's fucking with his brain. So he starts thinking about, all these different possibilities of what his future basically could have been like or what it was. And it's all based on Snyder Capullo's run of, what ifs. It shows him as the leader of the court. It shows him just running Wayne Enterprises, It shows him where he's the chief of police and Gordon's Batman. It shows all these different ways that his life could have gone, if it wasn't inevitable that he's Batman. So, great issue.
Awesome.
Really pumped 2 to go. So,
yeah, I'm going to be pretty sad when that's over.
I'm going to be sad. We're going to at least get Snyder writing Detective, and he has his A+ artist. I know Sean Gordon Murphy's been previewing a Bat sketch the other day, so it makes me feel like maybe he's going to be one of the guys doing the art on the new Batman book, or the new Detective when Snyder's on it. And of course, he's got Raphael Albuquerque he always works with, and then on the last run it was Francisco Francavilla and Jock were the two that did the Batman.
Oh yeah.
So if he uses any of those guys, it's going to be great. It's not going to be Capullo, who probably draws the best Batman ever.
Oh yeah.
But it's still going to be good. And then you get to see Capullo is still going to be, he's going to be doing that thing with Mark Miller, and I'm sure that's going to be really good.
Well, he is. And then, of course, according to the same Bleeding Cool article, which we talked about in the last show a little bit, but 6 months down the road, Snyder and Capullo are reuniting at DC for an unnamed new character and a new run. So, is it going to finally be Superman? That's what a lot of people are thinking.
I mean, that would be great if they went on Superman or if they went on Wonder Woman.
Superman needs something.
Any of the big characters. And then there's also the possibility him and Capullo could do other stuff, too. If Capullo came back as the monthly on a different book with Snyder, they could always do graphic novels and stuff like that. Especially if the Rebirth is we don't know hardly anything about it. I seriously doubt it's going to be a complete relaunch. It's not going to be like the New 52 where it's this is a relaunch, because they just wouldn't do that twice.
No, we talked about some of the clues about Rebirth. Okay, so if you look at all the previous Rebirth events, all of them were tied to a particular character who had died and then came back. Yeah. So you had Green Lantern Rebirth. It was about the dead Hal Jordan, who was the Spectre coming back to life and earning his salvation on Earth. And Flash Rebirth was about the dead Barry Allen, dead since Crisis on Infinite Earths, came back. A lot of people are speculating that this may finally be the return, for all intents and purposes, of the old continuity with a twist. What Bleeding Cool said in the article was that they may go back to the pre-New 52 continuity, but it will be more streamlined to be in line with current television, film, and media. That's what the whole initiative behind Rebirth is from DC Corporate, is to get the shit that's happening in the comics more coinciding with the shit that's happening on movies and shit so that people can tie them together. And I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and maybe it'll just be, from continuity-wise, like, this is the Suicide Squad. It's the same team that's in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. And I mean, you can almost think, too, though, like, if they do that, you can almost do the same way where Bendis, you know, even though he moved on from Daredevil, he still did the End of Days graphic novel, you know, basically continuing his story. Or how Dark Knight Returns does its own stuff. Frank Miller's always done. I mean, Snyder Capullo can always just write the next arc of Batman as a graphic novel. It's not like a monthly, and you can continue like their run.
Oh,
That'd be cool. I mean,
I'm excited to see what characters they get a hold of, though. Like, that's exciting news, and I hope that comes to fruition. And
I'm just glad they're together as a team.
And I'm happy Snyder's going to keep writing Batman. And it's probably smart from a sales standpoint, too, because and they're saying Batman's going to go bi-weekly. You're probably going to have almost everybody's going to give Batman a shot to see if it's good. And then Detective's probably going to sell the same as Batman was selling because Snyder's writing it. So it's probably going to make them two viable, high-selling Batman books instead of one. So
yeah.
And I've heard a lot of rumors for people that might be working on new books there, too. So I guess we're going to see how it all plays out. Because there's all sorts of wild rumors, like ranging from, Mark Silvestri doing the first arc of Batman, the art on it. Like,
that would be
talking about doing the
awesome.
art on Batman. Which, I mean, it worked with Capullo, famous for an image book, and, you know, bring him into the continuity. So,
oh, man, Mark Silvestri's Wolverine shit from the 90s is some of, like, my favorite art ever.
So could you imagine they get Tom King, one of their up-and-coming writers, kind of like Snyder was, to write it, and then Mark Silvestri do the art, you know, on the Wolverine, or on the Batman book. You know, at least for a while, because unlike Capullo, Mark Silvestri, I don't know if he's like a deadline hitter. But he could at least do like a bunch of it. And then there's a bunch of different rumors for a bunch of different guys, so you never know who they're going to bring over. And then one of the big rumors, too, some of these guys that left Marvel that decided they didn't want to do anymore, they were just going to concentrate on the indies. And there's a bunch of them out there that maybe DC coming in and get an offer they can't resist. Because a lot of those guys have barely, if you look at like Fraction, Remender, Hickman, they either worked on very little or no DC books. I mean, you take one of the huge iconic characters, Batman, Superman, you know, Flash, Wonder Woman, and say, hey, you know, I know you said you didn't want to do any more like books, but have you ever wanted to write Superman? You know, then maybe there's a possibility. So that's another rumor going. So excited to see what happens. I mean, you look at like I'm getting 4 or 5 DC books now anyway. So like the fact that relaunching really doesn't scare me at all. I feel like it can only be good.
No, I'll be sad to see some of these like Aquaman. Well, not really even Aquaman. I'll be sad to see the Flash in because it's kind of been totally consistent.
Yeah.
But it'll stay on my pull list because I love the character and have for many years. Speaking of new creative teams, we can talk about Aquaman number 48, Cullen Bunn's final issue on the book. So he wraps up his storyline here with Arthur taking his kingdom back over and, of course, reuniting after a long lost time with Mira, who unseats her sister, who was a shapeshifter, who was the one that took over and caused the breakup and blah, 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 blah.
Yada, yada, yada.
So the Justice League came in the last issue to help. And so Aquaman finally saved his kingdom, reunited Atlantis, all safe for the world as Cullen Bunn wraps up his run. And it announced the new creative team on this one in the very last page that's coming to take over. Well, at least the new writer. They did not include the artist yet. But former Guardians of the Galaxy scribe Dan Abnett will be taking over Aquaman. So I'm pretty excited about that. And, of course, unless Rebirth is scrapping it, Jeff Johns is supposed to be coming back for an arc. So that'll be cool,
yeah,
too.
I guess we'll find out.
That was the plan, but that was pre-Rebirth announcement. So I don't know if that's going to stick. So, and then also we had Walking Dead, number 151, Call to Arms, and a good issue. Another one that's not super eventful.
Another kind of a setup issue. Yeah.
But you get to see Rick training the army, which, finally he's, instead of just having a few people that fight and a bunch of gullible cows led to the slaughter, he is training his people to be an army. And so you see what they're doing to fight the walkers. They get overwhelmed. They have to survive under duress, and Rick's showing them how to do all that. And he also finds out that he's less than capable on the battlefield and is going to have to resort to more of a general-type position because his physical limitations have just caught up to him.
Finally, the fact that he has fucking one arm and is beats of shit is finally coming back to haunt him.
Yeah, but the big thing, Eugene finally gets a signal on his ham radio in the last scene.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy, which is one of those things. I was thinking about this, man, and it is cool. I feel like 50 or 60 issues ago, it would have been a much bigger deal. Because now we just know there's a lot of people out there. But, I mean, now at least we find out there's somebody else with a little bit of technology. So.
Yeah, somebody who can communicate, which the other civilizations have yet to been able to do. So that's something big. Going over to the Marvel, actually to the Star Wars portion of the Marvel Universe. Obi-Wan and Anakin number 2, a nice little miniseries here by Charlie Soule. Really dug issue 1, as I talked about on the last episode of Getchyapulls. Issue 2 was fucking great again. Again, we're continuing very much a Clone Wars theme, but you actually get it at a different time. You're getting Anakin sort of in between episodes 1 and 2. And so it's an unexplored time, and you get a lot of great mentor relationship with him and Obi-Wan. You see, again, little peaks of the dark side creeping in, how Anakin is, he's just so quick to act. They get surrounded by these mindless beasts on this planet who are they want to eat them. But, Obi-Wan explains to Anakin, he's like, try not to hurt them, they're just acting on instinct. And, of course, they surround him, and Anakin freaks out, and he decapitates all of them. So, you get to see all of that. You get to even go back, and we do a little flashback when he's talking to Anakin about some of his early meetings with Palpatine when he was just a young boy. And when Palpatine takes him down into the underbelly of Coruscant for the first time. It's all very cool. Again, you can take some great stories and help make those prequels not so hard to digest. With all of the great expanded things they've done to try to rectify those, I give them a big thumbs up.
Yeah, all the fucking Clone Wars, Rebels, all the things the prequels should have been. Every other form of media, it seems like they did good. Those movies, I hate them so much.
Yeah, but again, this book once more proves wasn't the characters.
Yeah.
Wasn't the fucking Star Wars canon.
It wasn't even the story. George Lucas came up with great stories for what happened. He just needed somebody else to write the fucking script.
It was just bad scripting, yeah.
Yeah, and bad casting.
But my pick of the week, hoo-ha boy, Southern Bastards number 13.
It was really great.
What a fucking issue. The imitable Coach Boss finally meets his match in this episode, and it's not where you, or this issue, not where you would think. It's not by some of the many people of Craw County that he's wronged, but it's actually on the football field where it hurts him the worst. They lose to Wetumpka County, and it's just a fucking great issue. It's just all about him struggling, and of course, the fucking he goes and gets drunk after the game. And goes to the bar where all the Wetumpka County kids are hanging out, and their fucking fullback starts fucking sass mouthing him, and Coach Boss just fucking tackles him out there in the parking lot and beats the dog shit out of him. It's tremendous. This book is amazing. I'm not even a big football fan, but you grow up here. It's part of the life. It's part of culture here in the South, and so Southern Bastards embodies that, and then throws a true crime, Sons of Anarchy type spin on it, and it's fucking incredible.
It really is, and even though Jesse Aaron wrote Scalped, it's really the continuation of just that Phil's book. I feel like Scalped is the spiritual sequel to Preacher. This is, even though he didn't write that, this is the same vein. This is definitely the spiritual sequel to Scalped. So
check really out Southern Bastards. All right, Jay, you ready to take us home?
Yep. It was a little of a short week. I didn't get to make it out to the store, so my list is kind of short. Let's see here. We got some honorable mentions. It's actually the same book, 2 and 3 of Uncanny X-Men. It's been doing pretty good. It's got the bun on it. I've been enjoying it so far. I was a little iffy about starting to pick it up, but it seems to actually be getting better so far. So it's a good one to check out. And the cover for number 3 is just fucking killer. If you haven't seen it, it's got Magneto with his hands outstretched, just covered in blood. So that's always a plus. You know you're going to get something good there. I finally was, after hearing all these other guys talking about how great it is, picked up Invincible Iron Man number 6. It's my first issue of this run that I got to read, and I was pretty impressed with it. It's a Bendis book, so you know you're always going to usually get something good there. It was really good, so if you haven't checked out Invincible Iron Man yet, do like I did. It was a short pull week. Pick it up, check it out. I think you guys will like it.
Yeah, it's very fucking good. Moody's been getting it. He can probably hook you up with the back issues if you want to get caught up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always hard to get into a book like in the middle.
Yeah, you should definitely get him to bring you the back issues to the next one because it like Bendis always starts off a book strong, no matter what it goes in the end. It's like
he always has at least a great first arc.
Yeah, then that first arc of Invincible Iron Man has been fucking tremendous. So.
Yeah, so I was impressed with it. The hype that I'd been hearing was well worth it. Pick of the week, I'm going to go with Extraordinary X-Men number 6. It's got Lemire on it. They end up on this issue. They've been doing a lot of that whole start the book and then go like 5 hours earlier and then show how it leads up to whatever happened. But I'll just go ahead and say at the beginning of the book, it starts out in there in Weird World. So it gets a little crazy there. Then it of course flashes back and starts to kind of show how you get there. There wasn't a huge amount of action, but there was some very good writing and dialogue in it that I enjoyed. And then you finally do, towards the end, get everything caught up. And the, not villain, but the main mutant that we were wondering, who's this mutant that they're going after is Sunfire, and that's the last panel. So we'll see next issue where they're going to go with it. But it was good. Check it out if you have a extra little slot in your pull list or something. You might want to check it out.
I've really enjoyed that book. I borrowed the first 5 issues from you, and I not knowing what to think, because I kind of dropped all the X-Men from my pull list. Uncanny was always my go-to. I've just had enough Cullen Bunn books, and I have no doubt that he does a good job on Uncanny because, the one thing I read of him before that I really liked was his Magneto solo run. So I figured he might have a better pulse for the X-Men, but I wasn't going to take the chance on it. I'm just kind of waiting for a new X-Men book to pop off, and that Extraordinary X-Men, Jeff Lemire has always had kind of weak runs on team books, but he starts them off with a great arc, and Extraordinary X-Men was no exception. It puts together the X-Men team you want to see. You get your Wolverine, you get Jean Grey, you get everybody else. Even though
getting the Old Man Logan.
I did. I think I let Todd borrow it last week.
Yeah, because that started.
But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
That's the reuniting of him and Sorrentino.
Yeah, well, you get Old Man Logan as a character in this book too. They meet him, and you have the whole deal where he's like, I killed the X-Men. I don't want to have anything to do with you. And young Jean's like, man, come on, you got to. I'll look out for your power so you don't freak out. I'll monitor you psychically and shit. Because neither one of them really want to go back. Jean's left and went to college. Yeah. And is trying to just have a normal life. And of course, because of the shit Cyclops did when he died, which I don't even know. I didn't even, I read the last issue of Uncanny, and they definitely didn't mention that at all, so I don't know what the fuck happened to him. But apparently he did something horrible when he died, right before the fucking Secret Wars. So, everybody hates mutants now. It's not even a fucking, oh, we tolerate them. It's fuck you, muties, when they go out on the street and, people are throwing shit out. There's a hilarious, in one of the issues, where Jean finally lets her powers go because she's at school. She's on a date with this young hot guy, and they start making out and shit. And he's walking her home, and she hears somebody crying for help. And there's this gang of dudes picking on this dude with scales and shit. He's laying on the ground, and they're kicking the shit out of him, fuck you, you freak. And so she fucking goes all psychic and fucking throws him across the room. And of course, her boyfriend's you're one of them. You're a mutie. Yeah. I kissed you. Gross. You're gonna give me the fucking M virus. And he fucking runs away. And she goes to help up the guy that was getting his ass kicked. He's like, stay the fuck away from me. I'm an inhuman. So everybody hates mutants. That's a really good dynamic for the book. Causing Old Man Logan to come in. That's a great dynamic. You get Cyclops, or not Cyclops, Colossus and Storm. So it's like, it's the X-Men book I've been looking for quite a while. So I'm glad you're getting it. And I appreciated you letting me check that out because I really dug it.
All right, cool. Well, I think that is that it for this week?
Yep, that was my pick of the week.
Next week, or next podcast, I guess, which we're shooting for 2 weeks, so it's a good chance we'll have all seen Deadpool by then, so there'll be a Deadpool review.
Yes.
Todd might show up for that one.
Yeah, maybe Todd will answer fucking text.
Well, we still haven't done a Star Wars review yet, so we're kind of waiting on him for that.
4-hour extravaganza.
Yeah, so fucking answer your texts and get your pulls, motherfuckers.
This has been a production of the Potty Humor Network. Find us online at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe to us weekly and never miss an episode by searching Potty Humor on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you for listening, and good night.